Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me, Danae, and I'm here with a message for you. What's going on, people? Hope you're doing well. I haven't checked in since New Year's Eve. So happy New Year. This is right before the spring equinox. So not only happy cosmic new year, but also happy spring, happy Aries season, happy birthday Aries, like all the things, okay? I hope that this change of season is already treating you well, and that you're enjoying it. It's hella rainy today where I am, but it's a good rain. It's like one of those rains where it's like your pleasure if you ain't gotta go nowhere in it, which I didn't. So it can rain on all day long if it wants to, and it looks like it's going to. But it feels like a cleansing rain, like saturating and clearing, and like when they say you need a good cry. That's what it feels like. It's been raining literally since the early morning, and there seems to be no sign of it slacking up too much, but something about it feels necessary. So, they say April showers bring May flowers. We're almost in April, so however the rain should fall in this season, I count it all joy. All right, so anyway, let's get into it. Did I say the date? It's March 24th, Monday, March 24th, 2025. And let's see what we got cooked up today. Two of Wands. Decision for direction. Let's see. It's definitely about moving forward, maybe even expanding your horizons. Makes sense, in the new season. Maybe you're planning how to charter new territory or getting ready to, is it charter or chart new territory? I never know which one, but I know you know what I mean. It's kind of like looking out into the distance and surveying the land and, considering your options, weighing your options, but still making a very determined decision in a particular direction, maybe even leaving some things behind with this wand here. Yeah, and it's kind of like the world is your oyster with this card, to me, a lot of times in the highest frequency, particularly by itself, because there's so many things you could consider, one might be considering in terms of progression and advancement. But to me, it's usually with a positive outlook. And that's a great spirit to have, at this time where, even with the wand energy, it could be inspiration, enthusiasm, ambition, excitement, and to just be looking forward to what's next, and taking control of, well, there is a sense of control, certainly, particularly about the perspective you choose to view the possibilities with. However, there's always the sense of flexibility and openness that one gets to maintain, to kind of like go and see, or allow things to maybe even allow some things to surprise you. I don't know why that's coming up with this card, but because I guess because it can be such a planning card, like an intent on a direction, that it must be important to kind of say, to leave yourself open for something special to occur, maybe even to reroute or expand your perspective in ways that you couldn't have pre-planned for yourself or foreseen experiencing. But all in all, there still is this sense of security and a feeling of security. And I keep wanting to say control, but then I retract it from coming out of my mouth, because it's not really control, meaning like you have dominance over it's contradictory to what I'm saying, right, in terms of allowing yourself to be surprised or be open to detours or twists and turns that in this case, as I said, I feel like would be positive. I feel like, given the outlook, there's room for, I heard suspense, that there's room for surprises that will be pleasing. It's not like, now I'm gotta go back to one or go back to go or whatever. It's like, no, maybe even things that accelerate your intentions beyond the plan, beyond the pace of your original plan. So something about that here. That's why I keep saying, I want to say control, and I feel like the control and security piece is just kind of having a plan in the first place, or having at least a strong intention for direction, a vision, even just as simple as I said, as having a positive outlook, being optimistic about the future and still being open, still does lend to feeling a sense of control and groundedness. I've decided to X, Y, and Z, to go in this direction versus that, to do this instead of that, whatever the thing is in this wand here. There's some type of power in that decisiveness that that feels like it's given the sense, I feel like I got things under control, and maybe it's really just a matter of self-control, and that's the most important aspect of them all, if we're talking about control, to kind of have your emotions grounded in the sense where you can, you allow yourself to be excited and ambitious and enthusiastic and inspired, aroused even, and yet and still there is a reserve for the unexpected, like a healthy reserve of suspense is what I'm hearing. Yeah, take that as you will, child. I don't know, but it could be anything right now for anyone. But if it's for you, I'm sure you'll know for sure. So let's just see what we got starting fresh on the board, shall we? You should be proud of your strong sense of decision making, though. And you should not only proud, because me having so much Libra energy, to feel secure in your choices without feeling torn in two different directions or agonizing over whether or not you did the right thing is comforting, to say the least, right? And maybe that comes naturally to you, however your stars align. But I know I can speak to it personally, of sometimes considering and reconsidering, not only if you're making the right choices in the present tense, but you know, that even transfer into what you may encounter in the future. And maybe that's the point of the Two of Wands, of like surveying the land, looking ahead. Maybe it's a point for me to even say right now, as I keep saying, like allow some a healthy reserve of suspense, is that you don't have to feel like you have it all figured out, and that every piece of the plan is perfectly in place and aligned. However, you should be proud of whatever determination you have settled on, you know, in this present moment, and proud, and also let that transfer or transmute into a sense of personal security and trustworthiness, you know, within your own self. Not only in what knowing that everything you have done up until this point has been necessary, you know, or important in some way, shape, or form. And so you don't have to worry about what the future holds for sure, because whatever you're standing firmly on at this moment is fortifying. Yeah, I feel like I had to say that. All right, so we got the Three of Pentacles. I thought it might be something behind there. Nope. The Three of Pentacles. So there's some type of teamwork, group effort. Maybe it's work itself. Maybe you're considering a new position, a new role, collaborating with a team. Maybe you used to working on your own, and now it's time to kind of co-create in a way that hasn't been typical for you. May not even be all that comfortable at times. Yeah, but here is the Page of Wands, which is kind of, again, like allowing yourself to explore new territory without I'm feeling to say, like, without prejudice. Let me see what else we got with this. Hopefully we can keep it keep it on a high vibe today. Because I like to say, in the vein of it, you know, of charting new territory, that this could be an expression of that. Again, whether it be a new position, a new role, a new expression of your own personal identity, your creative identity. It could very well be now either introducing that or professing that identity or that expression to the world in a more public way than you have before, or literally could be coordinating those efforts, that inspiration, that ambition with others in a way that would require some, you know, there's this idea of this healthy reserve of suspense, where you can't just come in and take over and make everything bend to your will per se, because it probably wouldn't be productive for anyone involved that is on the same page to produce something positive, whatever that may be. So even if you came in as a new employee or a new boss, or you're coming into a dynamic of co-creators in some specific way, you wouldn't want to come in with what we used to call like a takeover spirit, you know, and just wipe the slate clean per se, without considering the greatest good of all, you know. And for that, there would be this, I feel like there would be an invitation to kind of like acclimate yourself to the foundation of the experience before you bust a move. But let me see what else is with these cards. Let me see. Because the Page of Wands sometimes to me is like discovering a power within yourself that is, maybe it's newly initiated or reactivated, but it's something that you're becoming acquainted with. A power, an energy, an influence, maybe perhaps. Like you almost have to kind of get to, and here's another page. Interesting. Yeah, like you almost have to get acquainted with yourself in this new aspect before you begin to wield that power or that strength over others. Something about being vulnerable here. And I was going to say, I didn't finish that thought, that it can be a vulnerable place to be when you're stretching into a new space, such as going from working independently to working in a collaboration or in a group, or just taking on a new position or expressing yourself in a way that is different than what people are used to experiencing you as, or observing you. Expressing yourself in a capacity that's different than what others are used to observing. It can be a vulnerable space. That's what I'm getting with the Page of Cups and the Page of Wands. It's like still getting your bounds straight, you know. And although these are messengers, something to me feels a little bit more receptive and even like a bit needy. Not needy in a bad way though. Dependent, I suppose. Yeah, like dependent more than needy. Like there's something that is yet to be learned or absorbed or understood, experienced even. Yeah, maybe there's the lack of experience here or something. There's something here that's like green. Let me see. Let me get one more with this. Emotionally, energetically. Creatively. Ooh. Wowzers. The Seven of Swords. Or maybe that could be the perception okay, so I'm getting two things. It either could be the outer percept. That's why I was saying like people are not used to experiencing you or observing you in a certain capacity. That doesn't necessarily mean that you are necessarily raw or green to the expression per se. It could just mean that other people are just not accustomed to it, you know, or acquainted with you in that way. Fair enough. But the other thing I'm getting with the Seven of Swords is because of what could be like a delicate transition or a sensitive transition, you kind of have to be mindful of, there's something about a pitfall here with the Seven of Swords. And I don't want it to be so primitive as to it being like people trying to sabotage you, although it really could be that primitive. Like people, like say, okay, practically speaking, you start a new job, or maybe you come in either as a new associate of sorts, or in the Three of Pentacles, he's a bit elevated over those that he's um um that he's addressing in the Three of Pentacles. So it could even be like you're in a position of leadership in whatever way, shape, and form. Sometimes that can be a sensitive transition depending on the past leadership, what the circumstances were for the severance of that role with that person. People just generally being insecure about how to readjust to a new regime or to a new work environment, let's say. And some people handle that maturely, and some people don't. With the Seven of Swords, like some people turn on the deception or the trickery, and this could be somebody like starting a rumor, like creating a rumor mill around the new manager, or just gossiping. Even like it could be as seemingly simple as like gossip in the workplace, or it could literally be sabotage or treachery, in some type of way, where you could have one person or a group of people that feel, inclined to uproot whomever either they feel threatened by or they're just disagreeable with in a certain position. Let me see. Let me get one more with that. Because, Seven of Swords always sabotages. Yeah, like, well, here's a protection, though. Like, so I'm saying something that could matter. Because it is a matter. But first of all, it's saying that your highest intention is protected, as long as you are feeling affirmed again and standing your ground on your own qualifications, or what you believe in, your divine design. Like, however this expands or contracts, I don't know. I'm saying it as a matter of a job, so to speak, because the Three of Pentacles sometimes can be work. It could even be school, whatever. It's some communal experience where ultimately, here it is, you can't control everything. You can't control everybody. You can't control the impression. You can't control the response to your presence. You can't micromanage the impression that you get to make on individuals or on the collective whole. Like, all you can really do is come in with, again, a positive mindset, open to the possibilities and the greatest form of, creativity, somewhat sensitive, to the spirit of change itself and how it makes people react and respond, and even how you react and respond to it. And also still keeping your eyes peeled, for pitfalls such as this, people, places, or things that, more or less you would do well to create boundaries, like create boundaries for, or just to, maintain a strong sense of self, given all of those other preliminary boxes are checked for what it is that you're looking to accomplish. So even if you face a rumor mill, or a little a peanut gallery of folks that doesn't really agree with what you're doing, or they're just are going to be obstinate in ways that are unproductive, you don't let that knock you off your square, more or less, and take you out of character, or derail you from your intention for creativity. It's like really just being very firmly grounded on as we started in the beginning, what your plan of action and even execution may be, because wands are very action oriented, but also being open to the detours, the transitions, the upgrades, the deceptions, perhaps maybe even blind spots of your own. If this is not necessarily an outside opposition, it could be your own personal blind spots coming into a new space or coming into a fresh expression, because this is Aries season. We're talking about a new initiation of identity, and with all of the purging and cleansing and releasing that's been happening just throughout the top of this year to now, this winter season alone, let alone beyond that, it's like you're coming out fresh in ways that you may hardly recognize yourself as, in such a capacity. So considering that much, it may take a bit of an adjustment for others to accept a certain expression of you. And also, leave people to the devices of their own resistance, because as I said, you can't control everything and everybody, so some might be with it and some might not, and that's okay too. It's something about like protecting your energy here while you're allowing yourself to stretch into this new mold of identity, or this new personal expression, which is the delicate aspect of it. Like I was saying, something vulnerable and green about it. Like there are parts of you, and it may not even be so much of it being a new, like foreign altogether, but again, some of the aspects of you that you may have been cultivating in solitude and sacredly are now about to be on public display, because it's like more or less showtime, for whatever it is, it's time to like turn on and turn up in a sense. Interesting. Turn on and turn up innocence. Something there with that too. I felt that. Yeah, and people they might not be used to you being so outspoken or so driven, so secure, so assertive, so creative. You may have been sitting on skills and what's the right word, like skills and traits and abilities and gifts, you know what I mean, like all types of things that you kind of been keeping in the back pocket, or like I said, like polishing and cultivating in your own personal safe space, and now it's like presented to the world. Oh, that makes a lot of sense. That's why it's these vulnerable energies here, because there's always going to be a critic somewhere, just waiting, lurking to say something either to you to derail your ambition, or about you to dispel it, or to that's not the spell is cool, but there was another word I thought I heard, to like challenge it ultimately is what I'm hearing. May not even say it to you. Most people won't have the courage to say to you what they're thinking or feeling, even idealistically, but it may make its way around to you. Could even be like on a platform with comments and things like that. Like, yeah, there's something about being more open and vulnerable and more accessible, even perhaps, or certainly more visible, that is a delicate space and a vulnerable place to be in, but with the proper grounding and focus, and with that Two of Wands, that's also the focus as well, is remembering why you're doing what you're doing. Even as you're open to the spirit leading and guiding you where it's necessary to go, still keeping that grounded ambition sacred to you as to what excites you about whatever endeavor we're talking about right now, so that you don't lose sight of it or lose a sense of yourself in the process. Yeah, here's the Seven of Pentacles. This is about long-term planning and investments. Yeah, so you can't get jaded by the immediate response, reception, rejection, whatever the case may be. Like, this is kind of even taking stock of all the different talents and gifts that you may even possess, and considering something about this feels like a deep consideration of like what to pull out the arsenal, at what particular time. Like, this is somebody that may have a hell of a lot of gifts, like I said, in the back pocket, but maybe it's only time to project this one as opposed to all seven at once. And trust me, I can attest to that as well, because as someone that is extremely multi-talented, I mean, I'll just allow it to be expressed as time goes on, like what all I have up my sleeve, because sometimes it's astounding to me. But sometimes you just don't know what to lead with first, and that goes back to that idea of feeling secure and proud of your decisiveness, to be able to say, like, this is the direction I'm going in, and to feel confident about that, especially if you're someone, which many of us are, that are more than a one-trick pony, even if we don't give ourselves credit for it, or take it to, some things of ourselves we take for granted, like, oh, nobody cares about that, nobody wants to hear that, see that, whatever. There's still so much more to you than what you project. Back to this idea of people used to kind of, they have you all sewed up in one particular way, like expression, like, oh, that's just so-and-so, and they do this. But so-and-so actually does this and this and this, and she does a little bit of this on the weekends and this for fun. It's like so many things that you could pull out. But there's something about taking an honest inventory of what makes sense, perhaps, right now, digging, reaching back to that feeling of discernment. That's what I'm saying about pride in your decision making. That stability is what rounds out to be that stability, and trustworthiness is what rounds out to be discernment, and knowing exactly what to pull out at what particular time, and trusting your instincts on that, and allowing yourself to be guided. Here is that healthy measure of suspense as to how the rest unfolds. But this definitely gives a great outlook of a future reserve, that everything doesn't have to be expended all at once, or, invested in all, maybe your portfolio and your own personal practices, whatever they may be, doesn't need to be so diversified, as it's conventionally advised for it to be. Maybe you can keep some things on the back burner for now, and it'll come out another time. And, I don't know, something about that there. I mean, I like to believe that I'm connecting with, oh, wow, Five of Pentacles. I'm connecting with like-minded folks that, have a lot to offer in this life. So sometimes it can be hard to determine what matters first, or what takes precedence, or what you should lead with, or, you know. And sometimes it results in feeling like a pressure of scarcity in a sense, and stagnancy. I would even say maybe even this would be like procrastination, where it's like, well, shit, I don't know what to do. You know, like I don't know if this is the right thing, or if I should hold this back. Yeah, that I feel like this is the anti of the higher vibration that I'm speaking to, where you feel disempowered in some way. The worst case scenario is feeling like you really have nothing to offer, but I don't feel like I'm talking to folks of that nature. I feel like it's more, if anything, you know what this Five of Pentacles is giving me? It's giving me like this sense of a scarcity in time, you know, where you have so much to offer and so much to harvest, but you feel like you don't have the time, or the energy, or the opportunity to bring it all to fruition. And I can definitely relate to that as well. Like sometimes it's like, well, visions I got for days, you know, ideas and all types of creativity, but it's like, how am I supposed to do all of this in this lifespan? Like, how does that get to work? I seriously feel like that sometimes. But that's a scarce mentality to have, you know, and there could be different reservations of how you shift that mindset for different people that I couldn't personally advise on, but I could say that the Seven of Pentacles is always a matter of perspective. You know, it's about what you see you have to work with there, not the lack thereof, you know. So it just depends on how you choose to see your circumstances, and allowing yourself to trust yourself to do the best with what you can, whether that be talents, ideas, resources, connections, opportunities, time. Did I say time? I think I did. I don't know. All of that. You know, like you can choose to see it scarcely, and then it will manifest to be so, or you can see it abundantly, and empower yourself to transcend the limitations that may even have existed at one point in time, or may have been relevant in a season or two. Something about investment here, though, with the Seven of Pentacles, because that can definitely be like stocks. And I did mention something about diversifying. Yeah, so maybe it's about even being a bit more here, like with this here, like being a bit more conservative about your investments. Yeah. Maybe not having too many irons in the fire. Like get you yeah, here's the stability. It all balances out. Yeah, like find you a stable investment, even if it, you know, if whether we're talking about actual stocks, bonds, or whatever, or personally, you know, like I was saying before, one talent that you want to promote, or in this case maybe two or three or four, you know what I mean? Like something, I mean, even with the four that he's sitting on here, there's the implication that there's still at least three more in the vault, you know what I mean? So it's like diversify wisely. And the empowerment of it all is that you never really could be broke because you always have something on reserve. You know what I mean? Like, you find the things that will stabilize your foundation firmly now, make you feel secure to add on to that or expand. But how could you ever truly, it's like somebody that has many talents and you're only really like kind of cultivating 3 of them, or 4, let's say 4 of them right now. There's high probability that something's going to work out for you. You know what I mean? If you're doing it in the right mind and with the right intentions, like something's got to pan out. And with that being the case, to actually stabilize a foundation, then you know you could never really truly be broke, because wherever has worked out from your initial ambitions still has the hope and the promise of whatever else you can pull out of the vault and add to it. Now, I don't know how that translates in terms of like real financial endeavors, other than, like I said, just not having your money in too many different things right now, especially and particularly, I don't know, I'm getting this sense, because I'm starting to kind of like, get my feet wet in investments and things like that. And I don't know much, trust me, so I can't speak to anything in any expert way right now. But I know that ideally it's advised that you diversify your portfolio so that you have a few things working for you. But there's something here that I'm feeling like being more conservative, which the 4 of Pentacles definitely does suggest. And also what I was going to say is not necessarily following the trends as they're traditionally projected. Like, for instance, off the top, you always think to invest in the most popular type of companies, like Amazon. You know what I mean? Like, they're always, you feel like that's something that's such a staple in society that you can't really go wrong there. But I just got a flash of something where it's like what seems like the typical, fail safe may not necessarily be the case. Something that you would invest in wildly without even a second thought, because again, it's such a staple in society right now. But maybe the emphasis on instinct and even vulnerability, because that could even be like risk, the level of risk that you're taking is really, and also this discernment that I'm speaking on could be about like kind of like taking a more ambitious, making an ambitious investment in things that are not so conventional. Still not, maybe not wildly so, like, hear me out, because I definitely said be conservative, but the conservatism I think is more so on doing what everybody else is doing versus doing something that is a little bit above the fray or beyond the fray, that may bring you a surprise return, but that is still conservative enough or safe enough that you're not splurging all of what you have to expend on such a risky investment. There's something about that here. Like I was saying before, there's still something in the vault or in the bank or, on reserve that you could pull out if need be. So it's not like, you're betting it all on red or whatever the case may be. But it's something here that I felt about using your instincts and discerning, because they say great risk, great reward, right? But sometimes it's not in what is the typical, especially not now, because so many of our staple companies are really, I believe, in jeopardy of collapse in a lot of different ways, especially as far as investors are concerned. Like, maybe they can keep themselves afloat, to sustain, but putting all your money into Amazon right now, although it doesn't seem too high risk today in this very moment, I feel like long-term future view, that ain't really the move. Because some of these companies got some reckoning to do to restructure or else. So that your money might actually be going towards keeping a company afloat as opposed to it being, you know, something lucrative for you, like making you money. Yeah, here's the Eight of Pentacles, which is like work, like factory, you know, like assembly line type of energy. But it is a double up though. You know, I wish I knew enough about investments, and maybe that's something that I need to consider, you know, like I need to learn more, grow more, you know, in that range, so that I can use my spiritual prowess, like my spiritual instincts, to discern certain financial decisions such as this that I'm still a little bit green to. And maybe that's a note for someone else that can relate. You know, like these worlds definitely don't have to be separate. You know, they can definitely coincide in a reasonable, you know, practical way. But you just have to have like the mix between the knowledge and, you know, the and the, I don't know, the spiritual intelligence, I guess the intellectual and the spiritual intelligence to make informed decisions such as this, that are kind of sort of informed by what you can see and what's on the surface, but that are also empowered by your personal instincts, you know what I mean, as well, or your personal prowess in a particular sense. I know this feels like all over the place because I don't know if we're talking about stocks, if we're talking about companies, we talk about a job, we're talking about gifts, talents, we're talking about, I guess, a little bit of everything. Wherever you're seeing fit to invest the most of yourself, the best of yourself, I guess I should say. You know, you have to kind of be able to trust your instincts to do that. From the very beginning, that two of Wands energy is still very much so resonating with that original energy. Like, trust that you're empowered to make power moves. And here it is with the Four of Pentacles doubled up to the Eight of Pentacles on account of your own dedication and hard work, whatever that gets to be, because it doesn't necessarily mean you are the one that, you know, when you think about how stocks and stuff generally work, like you're not working for Amazon, you're not working, you know, for whatever the hell else you know you invest in, but you have an inkling to place your money wisely and watch it multiply. Is like literally working smarter and not harder. And this completely trumps, like this completely oversaturates this Five of Pentacles energy. This might even just be like a background fear, you know, that needs to be eradicated or released at this point. Like they say, scared money don't make money, you know. Being afraid to take certain risks or make certain investments in yourself or otherwise, for fear that you might lose it all or lose significantly. All these energies, every single one of them so far really kind of overshadows, literally actually overshadows this this idea here, which just could potentially be a past fear, or maybe even a past experience that's being transferred as a fear for in the present tense. And anxiety, you know, like nobody wants to be broke, of course, but that can't be the leading force of your decisions, because is leading with a scarcity mindset. Even if the ambition would be better placed to be productive, you know, to build wealth or build stability, affirm stability, fortify foundation for future, whatever the case may be, then it would be I don't want to be broke, you know, like that fear mindset doesn't really enhance your ambitions to the highest frequency. Wow, here's the Three of Wands, which is what follows the Two of Wands. And this is, I love this, because this is literally being in a place of receptivity, like just kind of waiting for your ships to come in, as we say with this card. Like all the work that you've invested, the decisions that have been made, the creativity that's been expressed, the building that has occurred has afforded this moment of great expectation here with the Three of Wands. So if you can almost even fast forward yourself, we started with the two, it's only one more progression to the three. Like almost fast forward yourself to a place of being openly receptive for the best case scenario. That's the adverse of this Five of Pentacles energy, where you almost expect the worst, or at least are afraid of the worst case. And so you work from that ambition. Moon card, yeah, no matter what the unknown may be, but certainly beyond your fears and limitations. That's what the moon is representing here, like obscurity, what you don't know, what you can't see coming. But what do you discern is best to perceive out of this darkness, you know, out of this mystery. The possibility of it all falling apart, or everything failing, or the bottom falling out, your investments depleting, you making the wrong choice, you leading with the wrong skill or talent, you starting the wrong business, all of these things, or the adverse of all that. That's the empowerment and that sense of control that I was feeling in the beginning with the Two of Wands, where you literally have the power to call in, like attract to yourself the best case scenario. Like nobody else can wield that power in your life but you, and nobody will. Even those that want the best for you can't superimpose that reality. And even those that so-called want the worst for you, or want, you know, some negative result, are finding that their power is also much more limited than they would like to admit, or to relent to. All right, let's see where we at. Oh man, talked way too much. Let me get a few more. Wow, look at that. Talking about double up. We're going from the three of wands to the six. Success, victory, public recognition, achievement, accolades, well-deserved accolades at that, respect. It's like hard work paying off, and you become like almost some type of like poster child for success. Maybe even famous for your achievements. Definitely well recognized and respected by your peers at the very least. And that's out of the obscurity. So it could even be like a matter of, like I was saying, people are not even prepared for the acceleration of success that you are about to express, doing things that nobody ever knew you could or did or were even interested in. You know, that's the obscurity as well. It's like, where'd she come from doing that? You know, when did she start doing that? Or when was she working on this? Or, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't even know she had that going on in the background, in the shadows, you know, and it's like all of a sudden, bam, you out for the world to see. And some people won't really know how to receive it. And some people may reject it. You know, they may. But there's a large part here that speaks to those that are very much so receptive and responsive in a good way to whatever it is that you project, whatever you create, whatever you express. Like, there is an audience for you, there's a tribe for you, a customer for you, you know. Oh, and I saw that flipped over, and you did too. The Ten of Swords. Yeah, and then usually in this case, it's not the greatest for a 10 to be overturned, but sometimes most times with the 10, it's also not the most favorable experience that you would want to have either. You know, a lot has transpired. What I'm going to take from this is that everything that has gone wrong, you know, and this is not that, you know, that this is not a reoccurrence of all the ways that success has been sabotaged for you in the past, because that's what I'm sensing with this moon card, like this feeling of when I was talking about like a matter of perspective and how you see your advancement. And sometimes it's hard to shake the past, particularly when it's been a cycle of failure or sabotage or betrayal or missteps, you know, or false starts or incompletes, whatever the case may be. Sometimes it's hard to see beyond that reoccurrence again, and even to just enjoy the success that you may already be experiencing in real time. You know, sometimes that can just be, you know, the captor of our joy by living in the past and projecting too much in the future. But there's something very real about success and at this time and in this moment that is sensational for many, And there is an obscurity about what the future holds, but there's more projection in this message holistically of it being very positive and promising than anything else. And here we have the the 10 of swords, which again is another one of those like resistant energies to almost drudge up memories of when, you know, you might have been in the trenches, you know, or when it seemed like nothing that you put your hands to or your mind to could go the distance or fully bloom. And I just feel to take liberty with this reversal to say that this ain't that. This is a new day. Everything I started about this message was about, you know, even with the rain, being thankful for that and knowing that it has its purpose, you know, and that it's doing something positive. It's clearing space, it's cleansing, it's purifying. That it's not a reoccurring, a never ending. That's what I'm getting here with the 10 of Swords cycle of failure, you know, or of misfortune. That's what it is. A reoccurring cycle of misfortune. Let's see, I can get one more with this, but I feel like that 6 of Wands trumps that. And the 10 of Swords in the reverse again is just that negative projection that somehow this is like all the other times, or that this time is not any different. However you want to see that, when it absolutely is. With the 2 of, yeah, it's a new covenant with yourself, if nothing else. A new contract. A new contract that completely breaches old agreements, like the evidence of the new contract, the new covenant that you have for yourself, you have with yourself and perhaps with the divine, is a breach of the old one. The two can't coexist. You can't be living in the spirit of limitless possibilities and optimal success and still be in poverty too, and still be in misfortune. You know, like those two don't agree. You know, so it's kind of like really allowing yourself to lawfully breach those old agreements that you've made with your circumstances, your surroundings, with yourself, you know, with your old mindset, with trauma, hell, with people, places, and or things that are in a frequency such as this to keep you constantly recycling negative energy, and allow this new contract to take precedence. Like that really is the permission that can only, as I've been saying throughout this, like that can only be given to you by you at this point, because what the divine what the divine decrees now has to be accepted in the 3D. It's like getting all the evidence of it being a new day, a new season, a new era. And you just, you know, refuse to accept that truth, mainly for fear of what could blindside you or what could come out of the woodworks and, you know, turn everything upside down again, you know what I mean? But it's like that contract has been canceled. And there's a new agreement here if you are accepting of it, engaged with it. Yeah. And that will ultimately, just as it like overpowered this 5 of Pentacles energy, like it completely overturns not only what was perhaps imbalanced or insecure, unfair, unsavory, misfortunate from the past, hopefully it transmutes it so that you see the placement and and necessity of it all first and foremost. That's the best way to get presently grounded. But that it also like overshadows, like completely eclipses, yeah, that's the word, eclipses that energy from being a future projection for you, that you don't even allow yourself to operate on that frequency of the worst case scenario anymore, lest you actually recreate it for yourself. Once again, it's about like really accepting and asserting the power that's been that's been, and here it is, like I was saying before, like getting used to this new power and expression of yourself, even this new way of feeling about life, about yourself, about your future, your circumstances. It's all new. It's new. And in every single instance, there's been an energy that's tried to contradict that in every single space here. The Seven of Swords, the Five of Pentacles, the Ten of Swords in reverse. It's like there's always going to be this opposition until there isn't, whenever that may be, to challenge this new identity, this new expression, or just the best of life experience as you choose to create it. But it doesn't make it true. It doesn't make it relevant. And it certainly doesn't give it power just by its presence alone. Only you can do that. And you won't. Wow. And the King of Pentacles. Now, if that's not a full circle moment, like the King of Pentacles is that savvy investor that knows what to do with his money, how to invest it, how to make it work for him, what to spend on, what to conserve, who to invest in, like very sound and secure, stable energy here. Confident, especially if it's a matter of material stability, it's a no-brainer. They're like moving toward a space, or maybe even mentally allowing yourself to inhabit a space in time where you need and want for nothing in particular. That's a hard transition to make. Because sometimes even when you physically, as I've been saying, like you could physically have the evidence and still be like, but what about this? But what if this goes wrong? But what if I lose that? But what if I, more so about the what ifs from the past experiences than what is actually true in this moment. So it's something about really buckling down, like hunkering down on the present experience of prosperity. And my voice is like trying to go, oh my gosh, with the star. My God. And here is that recognition yet again. It's like you can't get away from it. It can't get away from you. This is dreams fulfilled, wishes fulfilled. And I'm putting it here, as you can see, right up under this really like pivotal moment of decision here of where you place the best of yourself, where you invest your time, your energy, what you allow to resonate with you, and what you resist or release. What you pull out of the vault, out of the arsenal, what you conserve, what you put to work, or what instinctual energetic decisions you make, whether it be material, money, investment, stocks, whatever. What all that you've done here in this space is what is the precursor for this experience. So back to what I was saying, if this is where you are, then what you can gift yourself is the permission to live in this present reality. as that ultimate outlook, even as you still, as I said, give yourself space for transition, for changes, for upgrades, perhaps. This is the ideal. Who doesn't want to be completely 100% financially free and also liberated to live their wildest dreams? Like, you tell me. You tell me. Having the capital to invest in anything that you want to do, to invest in others, perhaps, that you see promise and, you see a spark in others, people, places, and things. But having the freedom to do so at will, that's the dream. I mean, like, what else are any of us, what else do any of us idealize, if we're honest, in this human existence? People can definitely say, can profess to want to live a modest life, and that's fine, because having the King of Pentacles doesn't absolutely mean you have to be wealthy beyond imagination, but it's just feeling a sense of security in what you have, what you've acquired, what you've created, what you've saved, what you've earned, what you've worked for, and whatever case, whatever sense that may be, and that level of comfort. Again, it could be something much more modest for someone else, but still, hell, if it's just you wanting to be able to get up and, buy all organic groceries without a blink, that's still achieving a dream and a deep-rooted desire at your own will, and everybody wants that freedom. No matter how modest or how grand the dream may be, everyone desires for there to be fulfillment in that regard, or to be fulfilled in that right. So, I, just like you, am a dreamer too. And I definitely am hopeful. Although I'm sometimes thoughtful about the timing, I'm definitely hopeful and faithful to believe that everything that's been infused in me to even conceive of, let alone believe for, is possible. And all of it might not be just for me, to manifest. It might be something I'm keeping in the vault to pass on to someone else, and I love that for me and for anyone else that benefits as well. So that's how like I was saying, I can't tell you how to balance that, those ideals, but that's the conclusion I've come to for myself, that whatever I don't get to do for me, I got plenty to offer someone else, to bring to fruition in their own imagination. So, and it's my pleasure to do so. But in any event, I wish you Godspeed and much love in what you're endeavoring in this season. I hope you have all the energy and ambition that you need to fuel your enthusiasm. And let's just keep it positive and keep this new season of creative consciousness as pure as we possibly can, so that we can all be so elevated. Yeah. All right. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, as always, I leave you with peace.